Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Brent McGrath, and I'm the host of Talks and Discussions, What Matters and What Doesn't Matter. And today we're going to help you move through your fear and live your life's purpose. So we're going to help you create the mindset for that. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Jen Collins. How you doing, Jen?
I am so wonderful. Thank you, Brent, for having me on the show. I'm very excited about this.
Well, I am too, because I really want to learn how to change my mindset to move forward in a bit more positive way. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background and give the audience an idea of what you do. And
Yeah, absolutely. So you and I started talking probably a year ago on LinkedIn. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been quite some time.
yeah.
And my business is called Believe Your Truth. So I am a mindset coach
Mm-hmm.
and I help empower people to live, like you said, your life's purpose. And it's about learning techniques of moving through fear, which we all have when we're wanting to do something new. We usually tend to find ourselves stuck and we don't know how to move forward and get through what I call the crossroad. And we have so many crossroads in our lives that we come to. So I help people navigate, down the right paths, moving past the fear, uh, you know, and it's all baby steps. And so this is what I do. And if you watch a lot of my content, it's just about empowerment and believing in who you are and not being afraid to live your life that you've always wanted to live and doing it without any kind of judgment on yourself, because we are our number one critic. Like we just
Yes.
talk so much negative stuff to ourselves. And so I help with all of this process to help you move forward and be where you want to be in life without having that inner critic yelling at you constantly.
Well, I understand what you're saying if I relate to my own life a little bit, but um, for me, the last, I would say, 20 years since I've been here, or maybe 15, if it wasn't for my anger and my, how do you say, my resentments towards people, I don't think I could have pushed myself through all the stuff I had to go, because I changed from Canada to Mexico. So I had to get myself motivated to go, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
motivated me to go. But now, the last 10 years, I've been, you would say, enlightened. And now I'm getting rid of all that, but it's like my engine needs more gas and I don't know where to get the gas from.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very hard. I think that, we go through life changes and hopefully we learn lessons from them that we can kind of push ourselves forward, because these things are going to happen over and over again. I mean, we're all human and we're all going to come to, again, crossroads or situations in our life that we need to pull those lessons from to kind of keep going, right?
Right.
And it's so hard though, because even though we may have learned a lesson, situations are different. And the way that we react, because we're constantly growing and we're constantly changing, you might have to kind of tweak them a little bit here and there. And getting through hardships on our own sometimes is very difficult because we're stuck in the moment. We can't see that, maybe a negative situation actually does have positive, good outcomes, but when you're stuck in it, you can't see it. So it's very hard. And like you said, like certain things push us to move.
Yeah.
You have anger, you have resentment, you need a change, you need to get away from that. So we figure out ways to do that. But it's learning in the process of going through those hardships and those times that's the key and that's what's important in order to get us to the next step in our lives.
That's true. Yes. So, so what kind of tips do you have for a person like that who was motivated by all those kinds of things, which are the negative things, and the negative things drove me a lot and got me to do many things positive,
Yeah.
but I only focused on the negative. Now
Yeah.
I'm trying to focus on the positive, and I don't seem to have a lot of jet fuel to get me to move in the direction I want to go.
Yeah. It's so hard. And I'll tell you why. From a very young age, we are kind of programmed by other people or things we read in the media or things we hear that, you know, you shouldn't do this, or you can't do this, or why would you want to do that, or I'm not pretty enough, look at this model on this magazine, I could never be as beautiful and, you know, living my life as happily as she is. So we're constantly thrown all these things in our lives, and then we start to believe it, and then we start to become it. So we get stuck, you know, we get very stuck from all of this stuff. So we have to retrain our brain to think differently about things. Before we started recording, you and I were talking about, I had COVID back in early of March of 2020. And it was very hard for me to get through, because at that point, we didn't know much about it. We still don't. But now we're starting to see a lot of research showing that, you know, these are your symptoms. A lot of long haulers out there. I'm a long hauler.
Yes.
So I have very, very bad days still. And I have a lot of neurological issues that are happening with it. But even in those bad days, I have to stop myself and think, I'm still here. I have the gift and the blessing of another day to see the beauty in the world. No matter how small it may be a bird singing, it may be a flower that's bloomed. I've had to train myself, even as a mindset coach. I know all these different tactics and tools, but I still have to do it, because again, I'm human and I get stuck in negativity so quickly. If it just pops up, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh God, how did this happen? Stop, think, breathe, and look around you. And then you have to just really be grateful and think about the things that are good, and not focus so much on the negative, which is hard and it takes time. But if you keep repeating the gratitude and the blessings that you have, and looking at the good that you have in your life, it starts to become a little more automatic and a lot more easier to get out of the negative and see all the positive.
Yeah, I was explaining to a friend of mine, it's kind of like your mind has been filled with dirt. And she says, if something dirty falls in, you never notice it. But once you clean your mind, and then something dirty falls in, well, you notice it right away. So then you can change it.
Exactly. And it takes time to do that, because we are filled with dirt in our head. It is so bad when you sit and you think about it, and you think, wow, how many times have I not done something because I've been scared, because somebody told me I couldn't do it years and years and years and years ago. You know, you have to start filtering all of that out in order to get to the good stuff. But once you get there, yeah, you see it a lot easier.
Yeah, that's very true. So what kind of tips can you give the audience if they're, well, I know that COVID has caused a lot of people to be shut up indoors for long periods of time. And now people are coming out, and there's lots of anger and resentment for many, many things from people just because they've been stuck at home for, or even like when you have to work and you're at home for 8 or 10 hours a day, and you'd like that for 5, 6 days in a row, it gets kind of tiring after a while. So what kind of tips would you have for the audience to overcome some of that anger and resentment, and I guess you could say road rage and all the other stuff that comes with being cooped up in a house for a period of time?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's so strange, because there's so many different types of personalities. There's some people that love being home, and there's some people that have to be out and about and, you know, be social butterfly. And I'm kind of in between both of those, you know, and I'm thankful for things like Zoom and all of this amazing technology that we have, where we could stay connected, but it's still not the same. So a tip that I would have, I mean, we could look at it a couple different ways. So if you deal with like social anxiety, and you don't like being out and about, and you're being forced to get back into the work world, or forced to, you know, be back out just doing anything, see a therapist. I am the number one advocate for therapists. I see a therapist. They are like, I look at them as a third party who doesn't know much about you. So they can look at you with a clean eye, right? And they can help you navigate through your anxieties and through your worries and through your angers and your fears without being judgmental. If you're not into therapy, hopefully you have a couple friends who are also non-judgmental, and that you can talk open and honestly with about your fears and your worries, and they can cheer you on and help you get through the next couple of months that we're all going to go through, because we're all kind of getting pushed back into society.
Yeah.
um, or if you know if you're just too nervous,
Mm-hmm.
take it slow. There's no need to rush back into everything. Get out into nature, take a walk, be
Mm-hmm.
with yourself and your thoughts. I think that is one of the most cleansing and beautiful things that you can do, is to be by yourself and just think. You know, um, we've been forced into our houses and, shut away for a while. But if you can get out on a hike with yourself or maybe with a loved one and just kind of slowly ease your way back into it, that definitely will help you. And then eventually maybe go to a store, or maybe, start getting out into the world, go to a restaurant. I haven't done that yet. I am scared to death to go to a restaurant, and that's just because I had COVID, and I'm still very worried about a lot of things, but that's something that I'm working on slowly but surely, and something I'm talking to my therapist about and having her help me.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with having someone help you get through fears and anxieties. I think it actually makes you stronger.
Well, I know one of the things that a person is supposed to do is to move towards their fear, because you'll never conquer it if you don't. So I presume there'll be a lot more people moving outdoors and doing things, because it is inevitable that we are going to get back to some kind of normal in the next, I guess, 6 months.
Yeah.
Because down here in Mexico, how would I say this? I don't think that the authorities are that honest with what's actually happening. I think there's more COVID here than they let happen in the news,
Mm-hmm.
because we've been green for 2 or 3 months, and it doesn't make a lot of sense after these big holidays that we're green when everybody else is red. So
Yeah.
you kind of shake your head and wonder what's going on. But I mean, that's what happens. You got to take it with a grain of salt. I
Yeah.
wear my mask. I protect myself as much as I can, because that's all I can do.
Yeah. And the main thing is to just do what makes you comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of bullying in the world. We see a lot of people that if you still wear a mask, there might be comments made because they're not wearing a mask. But you do what makes you comfortable, and don't let anybody make you feel bad about that. When the time is right for you to move forward and take your mask off, or, let's switch the subject and get off of COVID. Let's look at maybe when you want to start a new job,
Mm-hmm.
get into a new relationship. When the time is right, you know it and you feel it. And then that's when it's okay to move forward. But in the meantime, take baby steps, take baby steps. If you know you're not ready, don't do it. Don't do it.
So then, what kind of advice would you have for a person who it's really difficult to take baby steps? They take big steps, and when they take big steps, they're waiting for things to happen. And because you take a big step, it takes a lot longer for something to happen. But if you took a baby step, you'd see more results sooner than later.
Yeah. So for those that like to take big steps, there's going to be a lot of failure. And as long as you look at failure as a good thing, because we're all going to fail, we're never going to succeed right away. I actually believe the definition of success is failure. Like, you have to fail in order to succeed. You have to learn from those failures. So if you're one of those people who likes to take big steps, big leaps, and just jump right into it, that's great. But don't expect greatness to happen right away. And when it doesn't, you learn, what did I do wrong? And what can I do better next time to make it actually work? That's one of my biggest tips, is always look at the lessons and learn from them, and then use them when you take the next step forward.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I was referring to myself. I like to take big steps and then try to figure out what's going on. But I'm learning how to take baby steps, because
Yeah.
in order to have confidence in yourself, if you take a baby step, at least you can have an idea of what's going on. If you take too big of a step, then you're lost, and you have to go right back to the beginning to really figure out what's happening again.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers before we end this conversation?
No, I just, I think that it is very hard as we grow and we continue to grow as ourselves and human beings that just always believe in yourself. You were born to do something amazing, and you may not know what it is. It took me a very long time to figure out that I was good talking to people and helping them work through issues and life to get to that purpose that they're supposed to live. It took me so long.
Yes.
Don't beat yourself up over it. These things don't happen overnight, and it's not until you're actually ready to listen to what's inside your heart and your soul that
Mm-hmm.
you can actually do something. So start listening to yourself. Stop talking to yourself so negatively. One of the big things is you would never talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself. So why in
Yes.
God's name are you talking so badly to yourself? We have to
Mm-hmm.
stop that nonsense. We really have to. So those are the things. Believe in who you are. Stop talking so badly to yourself. Start cheering yourself on and surround yourself with good people. When you surround yourself with good people who know more than you do,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you learn, and that's where you grow, and that's where you blossom into being you. And that's beautiful. That is a beautiful part of life that if we can all embrace that, then we would be in such an amazing, amazing place together.
I know that's spoken like a great mindset coach that you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you very much for coming on the show today. And I'm pretty sure that there'll be lots of people listening to this because it's very interesting information.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me, Brent. I appreciate it. And I love to talk. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm here.
Okay, take care. Thanks very much.
Thank you.